Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Harebrained Games. Today we're going to do a review of a game called Trick Shot, 2nd edition. This is a game by Nikita Krylov and Artyom, name to be pronounced later. So what is the game about? Well, it's about... There's literally nothing on the box, and there's a reason for that, but I will explain it to you. This is a hockey game for 2 players. It simulates the excitement and the tension of hockey. That's what it purports to do. Let's see if it pulls it off. Okay, let's take a look at what comes inside Trick Shot, 2nd edition, a game by Nikita Krylov and I'm not even going to try these 2 dudes. Alright, so what you get is this glorious, shiny, glossy arena. This represents a hockey rink. For those of you who don't know about hockey, I finally do, and I'm glad I do. So you have your people, and the blue team and the red team. The version I came with came pre-painted. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going to go for the pre-painted, and boy, was that a good idea. All right, you've got your standard stuff. Any hockey player is going to instantly recognize what's going on here. You also have your game board. It's double-sided for home and away. Pretty sturdy construction. This is your timer for each period, and you'll begin starting out. Someone will win the face-off and get rolling. You also have these 3 little subtle things, but this is your stamina counter and your line change bench. And so there's the I'm ready to go out there and kick butt, and there's I'm really tired, so I'm gonna get me some Gatorade. And so each team has 3 of those. You also have the puck, which is a wooden cylinder. I might bling that one out a little bit. GMT will be jealous. You have dice, and these are custom dice with different sides. You have 2 pucks, so not to be confused with Tupac the performer. You have X is bad. You got 2 blanks, which means, yep, you did what you did, and a reaction die, which we'll get into shortly. Then you have different position cards, and we're going to go over these. I picked these 4, and when you pick these 4, both teams have identical cards. You'll notice here breakneck, vigilant, brisk, and active. There's a whole host of cards here for different types, and these map again to the position category, not a specific player. And so your center line will have these skills, abilities, and traits. You have face-off cards, which I've learned since experimenting are really cool, and I don't think I will ever play without them ever again. It just brings some variety. Good job. And then you have arena cards, and these arena cards are real-world arenas. Like you'll see, Philadelphia, San Jose, Edmonton, it's all of your favorite stuff. And what's interesting is that each of these arenas has a special ability. It gives you the lineup. So you'll see here that the 4 different card types or player cards are going to map to whatever's been shown in this card here, breakneck, vigilant, brisk, active, and there's always some sort of special global effect that takes place that's unique to each of these. Since one of my best friends is in Glendale and goes to all of the hockey games there, that we're going to go ahead and use this. All right, that's what comes in the box other than the manual. This is a 15 play, rules of play, good use of space, not too thick and heavy, lots of examples. But now I'm reviewing it, aren't I? Let's get into an example of play. Okay, the object of the game is to win. You win by scoring more goals than your opponent. This will surprise nobody. How you go about that is all about the rage of this game of hockey. Now, I'm going to give you the very basic vanilla rules, which means I'm not going to employ any of the special abilities here. I'm not going to employ the special ability of the arena card. I'm basically going to tell you how the core rules work. The reason I want to show you that is because once you know the core rules, then all of these are exceptions to the rule, so I don't want to make it murky. And again, this isn't a tutorial, it's not a how to play, it's just a basic overview of how you play the game. So, to start off with, we have everyone in their designated spots at the point in which we're going to do the face-off. This is the beginning of the game. You'll notice that there is in the rules of play a very handy sheet that tells you all the things you can do. You can just refer to this. I think the only thing that I kept forgetting when I was learning about this was checking, which is a different sort of rule set that I wish I might do a slightly modified player sheet that basically just gives the rule set. But here we go. Let's go. So, and this is the beauty of it. Okay, we're going to begin. We begin by doing the face-off. Roll 4, roll 4. Red team, blue team. Whoever has the most pucks says, yeah. Well, how are we going to beat that? Can we do all 4? No. All right, so blue team begins with the puck and makes choices on what to do. So we begin here. 20 minutes, we're good to go. Turn 1. What do? Well, we have some options here. We can move, we can pass, we can clear ice, do a clear ice pass, we can shoot, we can poke or hit, and then there's some other move, the goalies. The thing you're going to do most often is move, pass, and then shoot. That's generally what you're going to do. Everything the actions is sort of a variant of that. Now, here's the thing. Checking is an interesting thing. There's orthogonal, and then there's diagonal. If you have the puck, and one of your opponents is orthogonal to you, you are checked. The only player that can be checked, and this is different for some of the hockey people that aren't used to that, the only person that can be checked in this game is the player holding the puck. And so right now, this player has the puck, but they can't do anything but pass or shoot. Well, shoot. They can't shoot because there's something in the way. Shooting is tricky when you don't know what you're doing. When you do, then it's a matter of strategy. So what you've got are options here. You've got your defenseman, and they do have their stats. We do have to go off their stats here. I'm going to use the stats just because it makes sense. Their speed is 2, goalie speed is 1, winger's 4, and the center, well, center is 5. So maybe I will cheat and use that a little bit just to explain. The key is for the defenseman to stay back. Their advantage is their size. They're able to hit the hockey player or even people who aren't carrying the puck and knock them off at the risk of having a penalty or a fight. So there you go. See, all of these terms of hockey are coming through. So we begin. So what do? Well, this is the escalating tension begins. So whenever it's your turn and you start, you have 1 die. You decide what you're going to do, and then you follow the actions for that, or follow the steps for that action. Now, we can't do anything. Now, I could pass right now. I could go, you know what, I'm going to pass to the wing, see if I can get around. Well, that seems naive, but possible. Let's try that. No, wait, let's not. Because if I pass here and it succeeds, I'm still checked, which means, okay, I didn't really advance myself. So what I want to do is I'm going to try moving, and this is a common thing without the face-off cards. I'm going to move my winger, not the band. Their new album is great, but that's not what we're talking about here. And then we move it here, okay? So the interesting thing about this game is that on some of these actions, you do the move, and then you find out how successful it was. That's one thing that's a little different than other games, and you're like, okay, do I get to move? Well, yes, you get to move. You can move up to your amount, and then you decide whether that's successful or not. So invert your thinking on that. And then we're going to roll the dice. Puck is successful. The only thing that's unsuccessful in this regard is if you get an X, 1 in 6 chance. Well, shoot. If it's 1 in 6 chance to fail, then I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a goal, right? Well, maybe not. That was your first action. Here's where it gets tricky. Now you add another dice for whatever action you're going to do next. You have a second roll. Now, this is the issue. Once you move a unit, you can move them again during the same turn, but not consecutively. That means you can't simply go, I move here, I get the puck, I move here, I move here. You can't do that. You've got to use your teammates. And so the next obvious thing is to pass from here to here. And we're going to do that. We're going to pass here to here. Then we're going to roll these 2 dice. Yes, success. In other words, if something negative doesn't happen, you're probably fine. Yes, look at that. That's awesome. I'm on my way to shoot. What an easy game, right? Maybe not. Okay, I'm not checked because I'm diagonal. You're only checked if you're orthogonal. So now I'm going to do the next common thing, and I'm going to take this, I'm going to go whoosh, 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 whoosh. Sound effects are included in the Kickstarter version. Kidding. All right, we're here. Look at that. We did it. But again, we did the action. Now we find out how successful we are. We are rolling in success. Like, no, this is crazy. Okay, now you'd think, well, cool, I can shoot on the goal now, right? No, because shots are also orthogonal, diagonal. So right now, if I was to shoot, the goalie would be like, yeah, that's not happening. So now I have, this is great, right? Well, now let's go to the next one. So now what do? Well, I've got the puck over here, so which means that I can now move my guys into this area, because they're allowed. I haven't had any reactions yet. Hopefully we'll have one of those come up. I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to move from here to here.
just to maybe help out. Maybe I can do a pass or something like that. And again, I can't move him again. I have to move him, and then I can move him. So let's try it again. Oh, we got our first X. That's bad. Or is it? Well, maybe, maybe not. What we have now is a good situation. If I have an X, and I'm not doing what's called a difficult action, and moving is not, then I flip this over to its exhausted side, and I roll it again. Oh my gosh. Now what I'm going to do, flip it, roll it again. Okay, it finally succeeded, but now I'm in an interesting situation. Now I have 5 die. So what is my next move? Well, I can't use the goalie. I can move here like that, and I'm in range now, but now I'm going to roll 5 dice. Now here's the problem. If I succeed, I'm in a good spot, maybe, for a shot on goal. If I don't, and I get an X, and I use all these up, I'm pretty much leaving myself stranded at the mercy of when the red team takes over to do something. So, what are we going to do? We're going to do it. 5. Oh my gosh. Now, this is interesting. We succeeded, which means this move worked. Again, we're doing the move and then seeing how successful it was. But we have a reaction dice. What do reaction dice do? Reaction dice, when you're finished, when you get the final count of whatever you wound up with, for die roll, your opponent is going to be able to do what's called a reaction move. Reaction moves let you take one unit that's not checked, which would not be anybody because nobody's checking who checks the checkers, and make a move with it. Now, right now, it would make sense for, and it can only be orthogonal, except there are some rules, some stadium rules that let you break these rules. But for now, let's say, so we move back. All right, so now it's not so easy. Now we got 6 dice. Now we've had a plan. And usually our initial plans execute well, but then it gets trickier. I still have one way to exhaust. If I wind up exhausting this and I still lose, that next round, I've got an exhausted line. I'm going to have to do a line change in order to refresh these. And so I could choose now to go, you know what, I think this is too risky. I don't think so. I can't shoot right now because I just used this maneuver, which means I'm going to have to use something here or elsewhere. For example, if I did that and I rolled and said, okay, let's give it a shot. Oh man. Okay, so what am I going to do here? Do I re-roll? I'm going to do it. This could be the dumbest thing ever. Anything that isn't blank has to be re-rolled, which means I have a chance of succeeding. Oh my gosh. I succeeded, but again, reaction. Going to move down here. I literally succeeded. This is really uncanny. Now, I have 7 dice to take a shot on the goal. I have used up my line, which means that I don't get any re-rolls. All right, let's see what happens. Wow. Okay. Yay. Now, you might think that was good, except that I didn't make a smart move. What I could have done and should have done was move my goalie. But because I didn't think of that, because I'm pretty new to hockey, I allowed a goal through. Now my hockey goalie is going to say, you know what? I know what to do next time. And that's what they'll do. All right. So anyway, that is the general gist of how to not play D on this real well. But that's it. You scored a goal. I get a goal. And then we reset and we start again. I'm just going to get situational now and just show you some things that can happen. There's other things that can happen as you're moving the puck or doing whatever. The defensemen are generally back here. They are big. And so if they can make it over to you with someone with the puck or anyone not, they can hit you and knock you out of your spot, which might be great. And if you're the puck carrier, you roll and you win, well, they get the puck. And then they can go, move it around and steal it. Other things they can do, the center and the wingman, they can all do things like poke. If you have a situation where you've got, and again, you have to be orthogonal, not adjacent. But here, and if blue had the ball, you could do a poke action. If a poke action is successful, you get the puck. If it's not, then you have to roll another dice, and either you get penalized and you get put in the penalty box, 2 spaces ahead of wherever, and then when you get down to it, out they go. It's typical hockey stuff. Or it can even get into a fight, and a fight has its own subset of rules where you're going to play based on a size until one of you wins or both of you win, and then it's going to reset. After a fight, everything resets. Everyone goes back to their spots. Life is good. Bob's your uncle. Puck's your aunt. And as you can see, we're set to go again. I still can't believe I didn't move the goalie. I should have moved the goalie. I didn't think about that. What you saw was an incredible stroke of really good rolling, because generally speaking... Okay. There we go. That's more what I wind up getting. And that's tricky. And again, had that not worked, I would have been, not only had my turn ended, and then Red would have their turn, but I would be exhausted, so that when it came back to my turn again, I'd have either to know that I had no rerolls to be able to execute strategy moves, or I would have to say do a line change. At any point in the game, if you haven't failed one of the actions, you can say, you know what, I'm going to do a line change, and then your opponent gets the puck wherever they are, or you get they get their turn. You may still have the puck, but you get to refresh your line, so that in subsequent round turns you can do some things. Other things you can do, there are rules to help keep this in check. Ha ha ha. But you could say, for example, do a clear ice pass where you aim to put the puck somewhere. And this one's interesting because even if you succeed, if there's any puck rolls, it goes farther, so it's imprecise on purpose. You've got the hitting, which you want to use like your big guys or equal guys too. You've got your poking. Slap shots let you take a shot from beyond the blue, but they're what's called difficult choices. That means that no matter how many dice you have, you don't get a reroll. You cannot use your line. I mean, lucky me in this case. If I'd been in a situation like this, But again, that's a lot trickier, and because of the way that the arena is arranged, you're not going to be able to just use a wing. You literally have to be like heading straight up to do that. There's a few other things. There's offsides, for example, if you've got people back here and you've got and for some reason the puck goes over here, well, all your people have to go back and stuff, just to kind of standard stuff. And you're going to do this, you're going to play a full period, and that's the easy game. If you don't want to play less than that, then you've got the second and third period, like a regular old hockey. And then when you're done with that, then you can start seeing some of the coolness here. Like we have the center with the awesome speed, we have the winger, and this one's interesting. These game changers, and this is why I showed you the vanilla version, because once you get this down, you're going to want to add a lot of this custom crafted situational stuff, because they really do add some nice variations and pizzazz to the game. If an opponent stops an adjacent square, make a free pass. That's really cool. And these guys can react diagonally, which is nice because they're so slow that it's nice to have that. And then the goalie, again, after becoming the puck carrier, can move one square. I mean, that actually saved my bacon in one of the games I did a couple days ago. And that's really what you have it. If you know hockey at all, this is going to be a no-brainer. I'm getting into reviews now, but if you don't, even if you don't, we're going to see, you'll be able to pick up pretty quickly on the rules and how they go. And again, the variety of arena cards, face-off cards, and all the different variations you can do are going to keep this fresh. Again, I'm already reviewing it. Let's get into my final thoughts and see if I think it sucks or not.
Okay, final thoughts on Trick Shot 2nd Edition. As always, we go into the cons first, then we go into the pros, followed by my final thoughts. So the first things to do when we talk about the cons is to keep in mind this, as you probably were evidenced when you saw the game, and my terrible strategy of not moving my goalie, but anyway, I digress. This is not a simulation. It's not a simulation by design, it seems, or by happenstance. This is not a game that's going to fulfill you with its charts and tables of stats and facts and and seasons, and it's not trying to simulate the real players or real situations to the degree where you need hockey mathematicians, hockey statistician degrees to understand it. If you were looking for a simulation, this is not that game. This wants to give the verisimilitude of hockey, but not necessarily entrench you into the hockey data minutia for sorts. And that's why you won't see things that you might have expected. There's no icing, for example, in the second edition. There's spots for face-offs, but you won't see face-offs happening other than a few very specific points in time that aren't necessarily indicative of true hockey. The other thing is this is a 2.0 version, and it shows. You will see a few things that they might not make sense from a hockey perspective in theoretically, but they make perfect gameplay sense, balanced sense once you partake into the game and you realize why these are. For example, like, there's the slap shot, and it kind of alludes to the fact that slap shots are, certain places you have to be to do a slap shot, but it doesn't really spell out that because of the way the board is set up, you can only do a slap shot in these three spots orthogonally. You don't diagonally, they don't even need to put a rule in because there is no way to diagonally do a slap shot. It's not a breaker, it's just a difference in the game you're going to have to understand, because it's clear that this game has been giving like a lot of iteration, and you can see sort of differences, and like, even the way that the rule book is written to kind of almost make sure you understand that this is a different thing than you might expect if you're just going in hockey and then you go down the bullet point list of what hockey has. It isn't. It's not meant to do that. The refinement, the purpose of this game, the refinement of the game was done for the sake of making the game as optimally reminiscent of hockey without bloating the rule set or creating speed bumps to the overall hockey speed feel of play. And that does mean that some things might seem a little bit quirky. None of them are wrong and none of them are bad. It's just something to keep in mind. The other thing is you're not going to find hockey player positions being drawn out. You're going to find instead that the hockey players themselves, you're going to find the hockey player positions are going to be what gives you the per arena skill set. So you're not going to be like, hey, there's Grain Wetsky, and he has these stats, and so you can, you don't get that iconic, I drafted this player and he has this skill and special ability. Instead, you're going to find that the players, despite being so uniquely and creatively created, are really not at the forefront here. It's the player position and the game of hockey that's at the spotlight. And the other thing, the biggest drawback is nothing to do with the game, it has to do with the distribution. That is, it is not available in retail, which saddens me. But that's a choice they made, and I understand it. Like, do what you want. It's fair game. There's a very limited possibility that there'll be store copies available for people who want to kind of keep in mind and maybe grab one. But it's not, and that was probably why there's no need to do a whole lot of advertising in the back of the box, because this is not meant for retail, and that's fine. Except when the game is good and you want to share it and you want people to enjoy it, then it's like, well, that sucks. It saddens me, because there are about 50 games I played in 2023 that were all in retail that I'm like, I would trade all 50 of those to get this into retail so that I could share the coolness of this game. What a weird con list, right? This one most deservedly deserves to be bequeathed to a larger audience. So let's get into the pros, as if I wasn't already glowing about it. The components and the game pieces are the highest quality. The board itself is nice and big and glossy and just reeks of Frigid Arena goodness. The components and the game pieces, particularly because I had them painted by someone not named me, are of really exceptional quality. They look great. It's easy. It's pretty. You can easily tell which positions are which based on the figurines, and just thank you. Paying the extra to have them painted was a smart decision by me in a world where smart decisions are not always the default by me. So the cards for the arenas and the players and the face-off cards are all very nice quality, stock thick quality, and the bench player tokens, they're just these big triangles, but it's funny, you literally can line them up on the board and they match up underneath. So you flip them over and you see these guys getting tired and then ungetting tired. I guess that would be getting refreshed, whatever. The setup time is literally under a minute. How many sports games can you say you could literally take it out, put it out there, grab 4 cards, put your players out, and 2 people working together can literally play this game in probably a minute. They could get rolling if they knew what they were doing. So the rules are very refined and precise. The fact that it's a 2.0 version definitely shows through. You can see that a lot of they're really shored up and really polished. I found maybe one tiny little reference error in it, but in for the most part, I did not see anything. Nothing even remotely that stood out as glaring for trying to understand the game, particularly as someone who's not a lifelong hockey fan. There's also a fact out too that you can grab, so that's that. The arenas and the players, they are a huge plus. You've got the base game. The vanilla game is a great way to get the gist of the game and then, sort of understand the core set, and you play a few games. But then that's the time when you can dive into the other variations, and there are many. The arenas and players, they're a huge plus. I mean, the arena dictates the players to use, in what priority, in what order, and then some unique rule breaker both at the game level and at the player level. As you saw, you put them together, and every arena is customized and glorious and unique. I'm about 10 games through the deck where I want to play through every single arena and every variation, and I'll probably be doing that. I'll be doing that probably for a long, long time. It's and I like that the arena cards are variants of sort of real teams, like the real cities. They have to, obviously for licensing, they can't just spell it out, but it's clear. They're clearly driven by the idea of trying to make it simulate real arenas. So, but the meat of the game, the thing that really draws my attention and really sets me over the edge from this is a decent game to wow, this is amazing, is the thrill of the game put into it. It's very, very clear that whoever the designers and all the people that contributed to it really love hockey. It shows, and they put heart and soul into making this a game that was fun to play. Not requiring accounting degrees. It simulates hockey's ebbs and flows and sort of the crescendos. It's very hard to imagine someone being able to pull that off, because I generally I'm a little suspicious, or at least non-committal, about sports games being translated to a board game, even a video game at times. There's always a chance in this game that things are going to go off the rails right away, but the chance of that happening starts slowly, and then it grows to become more prevalent, this fear of what you do. And it's all about the dice addition, the dice accumulation. That first dice, you're most certainly probably going to succeed. You might, you'll still get chances. Unless you're going to do it. Anything can happen, but it's very unlikely. But then after that first action, nothing really matters if you can't piece together a good strategy with subsequent actions, sort of set yourself up for subsequent actions where you're rolling more and more dice with more and more possibility of having it fail. You getting into position to score. You've got that sort of, it feels like when you're playing hockey, the line change, someone gets the puck on their end, they start bringing it up, people start moving, everyone gets into position, you're getting this crescendo of, what's it going to be, pass, off the pan, and then you're just kind of all this tension, and then back they go, and you sort of get this other slowdown, and then you crescendo out to the other side, and you're going back and forth. That's what makes hockey so great, as I've discovered recently. That's what you get here, because you are saying, I'm going to set it up. I got some momentum. How far do I push my luck with this momentum? If I do something risky and it backfires, if I put myself in a bad position so that they can start crescendoing back the other way? And that's the beauty of this game. Every action that you do more and more, it's closer and closer to derailing the possibility of scoring, but not entirely, obviously, or else we'd never have a score. And you have things in it, like the reaction moves. This is another thing that makes sense, because even the small amount of things you can do to react can change the ability of your opponent to feel like they can, run the table and be able to make that score, because if I just didn't have that reaction roll as well as my turn, this wouldn't have happened. That you see all that going on. And then the reroll decisions, you're rerolling not just for failures but any blanks. And so yes, I rolled 5 dice, 4 of them were blanks, yay, one of them was an X, but one of them was a puck. Well, now I'm rolling 2. Well, it's more like just roll the dice you don't want to. You have to make a gut-wrenching choice, and that's really, really cool. Are you trading defeat for victory, or defeat for worse defeat? Or worse odds of succeeding. So, and I like that the move and the passing and the basic maneuvers are possible to kind of mitigate with that ability to kind of flip your bench but then the difficult actions, these provide a sort of a point in time difficult, fair, and reasonable level of risk. Like This is, it's good to do a difficult action earlier than later because you don't have a chance to make up for it if something goes wrong. You're taking that risk in that moment at that time for that action that's going to have a bigger impact than your average, move the puck, pass the puck. And that's another thing that you're going into and doing. You can see how it's going here. The exhaust system is simple, but it's so impacting. Okay, I'm going to do this for reroll. You've got two-thirds of your bench out, and you're like, okay, if I lose this one, my bench is exhausted, which means when I get my turn back, they're exhausted. I probably have set myself up not very well, or do I just take this point, I push my luck as far as I can, I'm going to do a line change, refresh my crew, and let them have their shot and see what happens. Like, all of these decisions come into play when you're playing this game. It's what makes it such, just bliss. I like that you can apply real hockey practices and principles. I was talking to a friend and about like what I do. Like it's the third period. I'm up 3-1. Well, I'm going to try and push. I'm going to try and get that puck out as far away and make my opponent come and get it. And it can be a little frustrating for him, but at the same time, like that's hockey. And I like that these real hockey practices and principles can be applied without exhausting spreadsheet math skills to envision it happening in the game. This is a game about playing hockey, not simulating hockey. You've got your agonizing die rolls and your mitigation strategy, but at the end of the day, you're focused in on the game. You're focused in on the action, and for 1, 2, or 3 periods of the game, you are in it. You are in it, and you're feeling it. And the other thing is, I really appreciate the board game geek community. This was a Game Found. I don't think it was Kickstarter. Maybe it was. Anyway, a crowd-funded thing, and so you get your normal community. But the community on BGG are some serious hockey lovers who've been really, really helpful, very fantastic, and just enthused about this game. Probably because they know how good it is. Because and that's a good thing. Because the actual the designer presence, there is a designer, at least one I know, that's on there, and he's present, though he doesn't seem entirely thrilled in tone to answer things. He'll let you know if you're correct by saying that is correct. And he'll love to let you know when you're wrong. That is wrong. You should fix it. Not rude, just blunt, terse, and sort of vending machine like, yes, there you go. I've answered your question. Which is kind of funny to me. But I guess when you make a great game and you know it, you can be like that. I wouldn't be like, yay, we did it. Isn't this cool? Weren't we right? But anyway, I digress. That's completely beside the point. But there are, that doesn't change that the vibe of community of this game is very, very positive and really helpful for people, again, who may not know hockey. You might go, well, what is this game about? And they'll learn something about it. Maybe we'll make some hockey fans. I don't know. And again, there aren't that many questions generally that I see that aren't already answered in the rule book. And so it's great. Win. So final thoughts. If anyone who knows my channel over the years, they know that, as far as sports games go, I find them amusing. I find value in them. I see where they're decent. You get games that simulate things, your basket boss and your first and goal. Great games. Nothing wrong with them. But they're not, like, exhilarating experiences for me because I don't consider them great because if I'm going to play a sport, I'm going to play it. I play basketball. I play baseball. I play any football, flag football, whatever. I play whatever sport you can in real life. And so if I start to feel like, why don't I just do this in real life? I'm just going to go do it in real life. And the other thing is I find that a lot of games are luck. No matter how they mask it, it winds up just feeling like a dice chuck-a-luck. And I don't find that terribly compelling because then it takes away the skill level and says, let's fake skill with randomization. And lots of people, again, like you do your best to, many games try and do that. And okay, we'll make the best choice, but you still roll the dice and you still get this sort of like, okay, well, pass incomplete, third and goal. And that just doesn't, I'm amused, but I'm not excited about that. But I would say that there are 2 games now, not just one, that change that for me, that are in my pantheon of great games that have a sports theme and that I consider just great masterpiece representations of their sport. And one is Baseball Highlights 2045, which I think made baseball interesting even for non-baseball people, and of any game that has exhaustive statistical data potential, that's it, and yet they pulled it off. And now Trick Shot. Both do what I want the most, which is to give me the ESPN highlights view of the sport, pure and simple. Baseball highlights literally plays like a game recap. You're literally doing the best of the highlight moments of a baseball game and getting rid of the rest of it. And that's where it shines. Trick Shot plays like a hockey game in progress. As much, it has as much of a real-time feel as can be possible for not being a real-time game. You feel excited about this. You are excited about your turn. You got the momentum. Let's get going. How far can we do? What do we do? Stretch it. Everything's about playing this hockey game, and I don't feel that luck plays a part. I feel I made the choice to put myself in a position where the choices were as low luck driven as possible while still incorporating dice as dice possibilities. And all that to say, so 2 years ago, my boss took me to the first hockey game, and I didn't really want to go. I thought it was going to be cold, and wasn't really sure. I'd seen hockey over the years. I knew I had hockey fans galore. I was talking about it, but then I went to the first game, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I see the action, I see the excitement. Lots of things going on, and so I went and I read about it, and then I got invited to another game, and I'm like, and slowly I started learning the rules, and then it became understanding. And the fact that it was the Seattle Kraken, and they went way deep in the playoffs last year, and the fact that I went to 13 games and they won all 13, probably helped a little, but it was enough to sort of help me become just obsessed with the game of hockey, the rules, how it works, and just the fantastic nature of this speedy, real-time, high energy, high endurance, high skill game that's required. And to see so many of those things that I've learned in the last 2 years so painstakingly represented, no more nor less, in Trick Shot is a testament to the love of the game that was imbued into this. And so this is a 10-10 sports game that I see myself playing hundreds of games of. Not even, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind this will stay as long as this house stays or wherever I go. It's that good of a game for anyone who likes hockey and wants to play a fun, thrilling hockey game. So that's what we got. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Harebrained Games.